Hi everyone, it's Eileen from Now There's a Crafty Idea, and I'm back with the next part of our Ladybird book junk journals. So we're making headway. I've put the trims on the edges of the pages, and on some of them I've done some, I've cut out, let me find one. I've used the Martha Stewart's edge punch, I can't find one, on a couple of them. Just to give the pages a little bit extra, you know, something. So now I think we're getting to the point where we're nearly ready to sew them in. So what I've done, I'm just going to move these ones over, is the paper pack that I've used for the actual cover, for the inside the cover. I've cut two pieces out and I'm going to use those to cover me signatures. So I just wanted them just to be, you know, very similar, if not the same. Well, these ones are going to be the same, because I just think it gives a nice continuity to the book, and I like the papers very much, and especially with this one, with it being the birds, I love like that, this beautiful paper. This isn't the most beautiful colour green, and I just think, you know, there you can see now you've got, it looks a little bit more tidy, a little bit more put together, and I kind of like that. And plus it adds some extra journaling space, or space for pockets and things. And the next thing is to sew them in, so I'm just going to do the other one. I'm just popping all the bits back in because I don't want to lose any bits. This one I've already done, and what I did, I used the same paper, but I put it one way on the cover and then I turned it over for the pocket. I've just turned it over so that, you know, you've got the, you can see the paper, and then when you open it you've got that. It's just, it's gorgeous paper, and I just thought, you know, any excuse to use some more. It's lovely. And then I've got this one. Now I did the inside of this with some other scrapbook paper, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of the paper pad, and I think I've put it away. I had a bit of a tidy up before I started, but I've used the same paper. It's got a variant colours, but you can see it's the same pattern, and I'm just going to pop that on, and that's going to give me my, you know, just a cover for the journal signature. I like it because it gives a little bit of neatness. It's quite nice. So we've got that ready, and then we've got all these little bits left. They're the pages of the book that we haven't used yet, but we've got all these little bits left, and these we're going to use to make pockets and tucks and tags and journal cards. And then obviously we've got these two pages, and this image we're going to use possibly on a journal card, and then some of the writing as well. It'd be nice to add on to one of the tags and that. And then this one's just an old page. I might use that actually to back some of the tags, and then we're using every little part of the book. So what we want to do now is to start sewing things in. Now I've got my let me just move this over. I've got my pokey book, and I've got my book for sewing things in. So there we go. And I'm using the lighter coloured one. I'm nearly out of that. I'm going to have to order some more. Where's my pokey tool? My awl. I should call it an awl because that's its name, and I'll just keep on calling it my pokey tool. It's not a pokey tool, it's an awl. Oh yeah, I'm terrible. I just make words up half the time. I know what I'm talking about. Right, there we go. Oops. Okay. Oh, I've got some bits stuck in there. Now they weren't supposed to be in there, and they've been poked through. Oh well. They'll come in useful for something, I've no doubt. Okay, so I'm going to just move all the bits out of the way. And I have already, if I can find it, created a template. Now this is the big thing, because you know when you have things to hand and then you suddenly need them and then they're no longer to hand. Aha, found it. Right, so this is the template I've created, and it's basically, all I did was, it is the width of the spine, and then I drew where I wanted my signatures to go. And what I forgot to do, which I need to do, is I need to cut it to the right size. Now I'm going to eyeball it. I shouldn't really, I should measure it, but I'm going to eyeball it. Let me just make sure I've got this straight. There we go. Okay. And then we'll just give it a quick cut. It doesn't have to be perfect. Because I can put a little mark on where I need it. I should have it the perfect size, but you know, this is one of those things where I always end up eyeballing. There we go. That's pretty much okay. Right, now let's see, what was I going to do? Yes, so we need to start off by poking our holes through. I will get there eventually, just give me a second. I'm just going to put this right. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to put our holes through the book. And this is the guide I'm going to use on the signatures as well. As you can see, it's the perfect size. There we go. Right. Okay. Now I'll get my signatures sorted. I'm just going to flip through and make sure I've got everything where I want it. I mean, you'll have seen me do this. If you've watched the channel for a while, you'll have already seen how this is done. But you just, if you haven't ever seen it, just go through your signature, make sure you've got everything lined up where you want it, and make sure everything's in the place that you want it, because this is your last chance to move things about. Right, I think that'll work fine. Let's get to the centre. There we go. And I just want to give it a nice tuck down before I start putting the clips on. Okay. Now this is the hard thing to do, because doing this one-handed I always struggle. There we are. And then I'm going to go to the opposite corner. There we go. The reason to go to the opposite corner is just it helps to keep things straight, and it helps to stop things from shifting about as you're doing the rest of the clips. So like I say, it's not easy doing it one-handed. And then we will do the last one, and trying to keep everything tight into the center as well while we're doing it. I mean, it'll get pulled in anyway with the thread, but if it's pulled in tight anyway, then that's a bonus. Now all I do with these is I just fold it over on one of the lines, and that is going to become your template for in here. But because this is slightly smaller, I'm just going to get a pencil or a pen. Because this is slightly smaller than our book cover, I am going to put marks on just so I can see where the bottom of the page is and the top of the page is, because otherwise your signatures won't be in the right place. And to make sure I don't get further confused, put that mark there, I'm going to write top, so I don't end up turning it over. This is just going to help to stop things from being out of line, and hopefully, because when you're doing one signature it doesn't really matter. When you're doing two signatures, you want them to be about the same place. You know, you don't want one higher than the other. So let's get this right. Make sure everything's lined up. And then we'll just use the awl, make a nice big hole. And I'm using just a normal pamphlet stitch for this. So it's 1, 2, 3 times the size of the book. You're going to have some excess, but that's okay. Rather to have too much than too little. And then we're going to do this. I'm only going to sew one of these on camera, because once you've seen me do one, you've seen me do them all. And for the next stages, you know, you don't need to see me sew them all in. So let's just make sure we've got the right one. So I'm just checking on the page. Yeah, this is the right one, and then that's the second signature. Right, Okay, let's get sewing. And sometimes, you know, especially if you're sewing through many layers, you need to give that give your needle just a little wiggle so that you can get it through. Because as much as you can make a hole with it all, you know, sometimes it's just not quite enough to get through all the layers. You know, a proper, you know, like a big enough hole for the end of your needle, because where you've got the eye of the needle is slightly wider. There we go, got it. Okay, now this is the bit I always struggle with, cross threading, because I end up cross threading nearly every time I do one of these. Which is where you catch the thread on the way through, and then when you try to tighten it you can't, because you've cross threaded it. I'm hopeless at that. It's with this waxy thread, you know, because I don't know if it's because it's waxy or I don't know, but I always struggle with it. Right, there we go. Okay, now we're going to give everything a nice tug. Nice tug. Thread under there. And then we can pull our, there we are. Nice tug. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And there we go. I always like to put a knot in, whether I'm tying a bow or not. I'm going to tie a bow in these ones, I think. You know, bows are like fairy tales and bows. It's just perfect, isn't it? And just snip that little bit off that we don't need. And there's our first one in. I really love making these ones. That for me, they're a perfect size. And I just love the way they come together, and the added extra of having the book within the journal. I mean, it's just so pretty. Right, now, and that's nice and tight there. Right, next one. Making sure we get the top at the top. I'm just going to give it a quick flip through, make sure everything's where I want it. Now I haven't added any sacks or envelopes to this one, because I want to use them in the actual decoration of the journal. Some of them I've added sacks and envelopes to, some of them I haven't. I am still going to use the same amount of ephemera in each one. It's just that I'm going to use it differently, if you know what I mean. So in some of them they'll be sewn in, and some of them they'll become part of the decoration. Right, now making sure I've got that at the top, making sure everything's lined up. Now let's get the clips on. Trying to keep the clips together. Oops. I tell you, I wish I had these around when I was a kid, because my brother had this way of being able to use paper clips and make them fire at you. These would have been great to fire back. Sibling problems, eh? Tell me I'm not the only one. I love my brother dearly, and I don't see him half as much as I wish I could. I've got two brothers, but the one I'm talking about lives in Scotland, and he's such we're so close in age that when we were kids, oh, we did nothing but get on each other's nerves. And we were forever having a merry war. And he used to get paper clips and he could fire them. I don't know how he did it, but he was so good at doing it. And I was so mystified, and I used to try and work out how he did it. And the worst I could do was just fling them back at him, but he used to be able to fire them so that they stung when they hit you. He still won't tell me the secret of how he did it. If I had these clips, I would have been able to fire them back at him. That would have made a nice little clunk on his head. Oh dear me. Oh, I miss him so, you know. We never did get on when we were kids, but as adults, you kind of find the value of your siblings, don't you? especially in a time like this when, you know, it's always in the back of your mind, I think. Sorry, I'm off camera. It's always in the back of your mind that you can just pop in the car and go and see someone. I'm going to use the all on this because I don't think I've got it straight. But during the pandemic, it's kind of like you can't just do that, can you? If you've got a hankering to see someone, it's tough. You can Skype them, but it's not the same, is it? And yeah, I think not having that option to just be able to pop in the car and go see them, it just really brings it close to mind. Especially when I think the rules are different in Scotland to England, so I think it's I don't know, I think that they've got different restrictions to us. I was talking to a vicar the other day. He was a nice chap from Wales, and he's only been here 2 weeks in Sunderland. He's just been sent to Sunderland, and he's just finding his feet. And I welcomed him to the city, and I was talking to him, and I says, so I says, hey, I says, did you come from Wales to get here? I says, because I thought yous were in a lockdown. He says, oh, it was all very, very James Bond. He says, I snuck out in the middle of the night, and he says, and once I got to the motorway, I knew I was okay. He says, but I was constantly watching for the cars chasing me down. I was laughing. I was like, oh dear me. But he was such a lovely fella. He says, I've come to the city of the sun. I says, well, I think you've been misinformed. It's called Sunderland, but it's not the city of the sun, that's for sure. It should have been called Rainderland. Oh dear me. But he was a nice fella. He had me laughing. He was like, I managed to get over the border without being detected. I was like, oh man, you've only come from Wales. It's nice to meet people who you can have a laugh with in dark times, isn't it? It wasn't a very nice reason to meet him. It was at a funeral, but it was nice to be able to find a few joyful moments in such a sad day. There we go. Right, now that's also, oh look at that, isn't that gorgeous? I'm loving it. I always love when I get these sewn in and I get to hold them for the first time properly sewn in. It feels like they come to life. I do love these. I love them so much. I've got my Rumpelstiltskin one and I'm nearly finished it now. I will give you a flip through of it when I'm done it all, but yeah, I love it. That's just great. Now we can get to the fun part. Well, it's all fun, but this is the most fun part of making some ephemera. Now I've already made a start on the ephemera because I'm just going to pop these away before I lose them. I've got 9 of these on the go. So I wanted to get a head start on the ephemera to make sure that I would have plenty. But I'm going to go through what I've made and how I've made it, because I've come up, well, I'm not going to say it's new because I don't know if it is new, but I found a way of folding a pocket and I love it. And I don't think I've seen it before, so if somebody else has done it and I've just forgotten or missed their actual video, then please do forgive me, but it's this one and I love it. And you've got a little tuck in there, and then you've got a big tuck in there, and then you can even tuck things under there. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. Now I'm using these old pages these are from oh, it's a children's encyclopedia. I think they were from 1950. So you fold them in half. Oh, there's some nice images on that one, isn't there? Maybe I'll fold it that way and we can have some of those images popping through. So it needs to go in half and try and get it as equal as possible. This is just, I was sitting the other day with some paper and I thought, oh, I'm just going to sit and fold it and see which ways I can fold it. Sometimes I do that. I know, I'm crackers. But sometimes I just sit with a piece of A4 paper and think, which way can I fold this to make something different? And this is what I came up with the other day. And then you have to turn, And the best way to do this is to try and get it so that this goes the opposite way. So the folded corner comes across and gets folded over in a triangle, and then give them a nice press down. This can feel a bit bulky, but you can cut some of the bulk out if you want. And then I just fold this up so that it's level with the bottom of that triangle, and that gives you the tuck area, so that what you've ended up with is you've got your tuck here, and then you've got your tuck here, and if you leave this at the bottom, you've got a nice tuck there. You don't have to leave that on. Some of them I've glued it down, and others I've just left it because it could be a nice little secret tuck. And that's basically it. That's the fold. So I'll make another one and show you. Oh, it's got nice images on too. I'll do one the other way, so I've been doing them both ways, because it's always a good idea to have your ephemera both ways. That way you can decide which way you want it on your page. Sometimes in the past, when I've been mass making ephemera, I've made the mistake of making it all go one way, and then when you end up in a book and the only place you've got is the opposite page, and you're like, well, now I'm stuck. So fold it in half, bring this corner down, and you're going to reinforce all this with collage, so don't worry about it being thin. And then we're going to fold this over, and the folded corner we're going to bring up, because you want these folding the opposite way. You can do it the same way if that's the aesthetic you want. I just like the opposites, because I think it adds a little bit more, you know, a little bit more, and sometimes it just needs that little bit more. Right, and then give that a really good press, and there you go. It can feel a bit bulky at this bottom bit, and if you're bothered about it, what I would suggest is you can cut this square out and then just have that fallen down. I'm not bothered about that. It doesn't matter, and it still runs through the sewing machine. You have to be careful, but I managed to get mine through the sewing machine okay, and it gives it that extra bit of strength. And then when I glue these down, I can either have them being a top loader or a side loader, so that's good. So I'm enjoying that. And then obviously you've got place for one tag, and then if you imagine you've got a nice long tag, oh, there we go, I haven't sewn these ones yet, another place for another tag, and you could get quite a few bits and pieces in as well. And then, like I said, you've got a secret little tuck spot there as well. So yeah, I kind of like these. I'm really impressed with just sitting there folding paper, and I came up with them. If somebody else has done them before, please drop a comment and let me know if you've seen them somewhere else, because I can't remember seeing them. So I'm going to just collage them, and I've got some papers from Jo Beth Sexton. I'll drop a link down below, and I've also got some papers from Antique Papery. Again, I'll drop a link down below, and then I think these are from Artsology. I think I'll use some of the Artsology actually, because I kind of like these ones, and there we go. I think I'll use that one to start off with. So it's just a case of lining things up and then deciding what you want where. I'm just gonna roughly tear this, and then I can get my rule out. Where's my rule gone? If I can find it. Which oh, there it is. I see it. It's hiding from me. Right, okay. Try and get it all lined up. I'm not so bothered about this edge because you won't see most of it, but the other edge you will. So I'll try and get it straight. We'll use that bit somewhere else. There we go. Right, okay. Let's get some glue. I think I might be running out of glue as well. So we had a great time in Harry Potter World. The studio tour. Oh, my brain's not working today. Yeah, we went, oh my god, it was amazing. It was like being at Hogwarts, and well, I was literally at Hogwarts, because that's where they created it all. The whole of Hogwarts, Diagon Alley, Hagrid's hut. You know, we got to see it all. The common rooms, that was really good. And there was a celebration of Slytherin on. Slytherin being one of the 4 houses, if you're not that up on Harry Potter. I am a huge Harry Potter fan. In fact, I'm pretty sure the name of this channel is Lunar Moon Shadow, which was a name that I got on one of these what would your Harry Potter name be. Because yeah, I'm that crazy about it. So yeah, and that's it was really great. When you first walk in, there is a massive, you know, if you know the stories, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, there's a scene where a massive dragon bursts out of underground tunnels through the Gringotts Bank, and it carries Harry, Ron and Hermione off on its back. And oh my goodness, they've got it hanging up in the actual when you first go through the door. It's there hanging in the first atrium, and he is so detailed, it's unbelievable. You could honestly, you think you can put your hand out and you would touch leathery dragon skin. He's just amazing, and he's massive. He's absolutely huge. And, I was stood there in awe with my mouth open, and the people who were there, like the assistants and that, they're just great, because I think most of them must be Harry Potter fans anyway, and they were just stood there giggling, and I was like, you must see this a lot. It's like everybody who comes through the door stands there with the mouth open when they first see him, and I was like, I'm not surprised, he's magnificent. But yeah, it was great. And it was so much fun. It was all because it was actually the sets, you know, it's all the sets that they actually made and brought it all to life. And I was in Hogwarts. I was, you know, I got my letter to Hogwarts. I went off, and I unfortunately couldn't stay because the security were about. Oh, I could have lived in that place. I could have easily. And I'm not going to give any spoilers away. Uh-oh, dear me. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, because if people want to go, then, you know, I don't want to spoil it for you. You get to see so much. Things that you don't even realise you wanted to see. Things that you'd forgotten about in the movies, and they're suddenly brought to life, and it's amazing. And not only that, but you get to see the special effects as well. So there's like areas where they show you how they did all the special effects and things, and they're amazing. The amount of work and the amount of people that worked on them, I just, you know, it's amazing that so many people, you know, could work on one project like that. It must have been, well, I think they were saying, because there's like little what you call it, like documentary style things all the way around for you to watch and listen to, and they were saying that it was like one big family, and that the kids were great, and that, you know, they all seemed to just get along really well. I'm just going to make sure I've got this the right way. That's it. And that everybody just loved it. It must have been a terrible heartbreak, you know, when it all ended and they all had to go back to reality. But yeah, it was wonderful, and I don't want to wax on lyrical about it too long. But and the butterbeer, I got to taste butterbeer for the first time, and it was delish. I mean, I don't think I could drink much of it because it was incredibly sweet, but it was delicious. And my daughter, she's been to, is it Florida? Is that Disneyland in Florida? And she absolutely loved it there. And she was saying, you know what, it's as good as the one in Florida, the butterbeer. I was like, oh, cool. She's like, your mum, you need to come over to America and go to Florida and try, you know, see the Harry Potter world that they've created, because she says it's magnificent. So there's one done. I'm not going to ink it yet. I'll ink them both together when I've finished. Let's get a different sheet because I want a different feel on these. So let's do one with these. I'm just gonna you know what, I think it might be better if I do it like that so I can see, because otherwise I can't see. I think that should be about right, hopefully. Okay. So yeah, we did that, and the hotel we were staying in was really nice. I was very impressed. They were very professional with all the COVID stuff, because I think I told you I had been a little bit, dear me, that I'm out of glue. I had been a bit worried about that, because you know it's not a nice situation. It's scary, but yeah, they were very good, and I felt very comfortable and safe and happy. We did pop into London. Now we went in, and I says to Chris, my husband, I says, if it gets too busy, I'm going home, because we really shouldn't be in a busy city at the minute. And he was like, fair dues, no problem. If it gets busy, we'll just come home. And I was like, great. I can honestly say I've never seen London so empty. There was barely anybody there. It was, I've never seen it. I've been to London various times and never have I seen it as empty as that. It's, yeah, it was eerie. There was barely anybody on the tube, and the day we went in, it was Halloween. And normally on a Halloween the city is heaving, because it's, you know, it's party time. I think it's a different tradition in England as it is in America. I know it's a big holiday for yous in America, in Canada. To us, yeah, it's fun for the kids and that they have the little Halloween parties, but for most people it's just a good excuse for a dress-up party. And that's the way we celebrate it. So normally Halloween in London, it would have been heaving with varying, like, monsters and you know, people dressed up as varying things. And it was so empty that we walked, and I'm not kidding you, we walked nearly the entire city, and we, you know, there was very few people on the streets. We never felt crowded. We never felt as though, you know, even on the tubes, we never felt as though we had to get off the tube because there was too many people, because there was barely more than us in a carriage, you know, and maybe it's one or two people at the top end, and then that was it. So wearing our masks, I felt completely comfortable, and we visited all the spots. We went to Trafalgar Square, Piccadilly Circus, we went to Baker Street, and we stood outside of Sherlock Holmes' house. We couldn't go in because unfortunately it was closed, and we didn't have the time to wait for it to open. That's a bit too much pink. Let's get the other one. Let's see. Kind of like that one. We could do that one. Okay, we'll do that one. Yeah, so it was really, I felt comfortable, and normally I'm not a city person. Normally I do not feel comfortable in cities. I do not feel safe, and I do not like wandering around cities. I'm not that kind of person. I was born and bred in a city, and if I never have to live in another city for the rest of my life, I'll be happy. I like that image. I wonder if I can put that there. But it was really nice actually, because we got to see the whole of London, and we found this shop, and it was called the House of Spells, and it was great because it was all kind of Harry Potter and magic, and that was a real treasure. I was happy with finding that. So yeah, that was fun, and yeah, it was nice. It was, not stressful, where normally I find a visit to London, there's lots of wonderful things to see, and if you ever get the chance, do go to London, because it's a great centre for culture, and there's so many wonderful things to see, museums and just so much. But you know, I'm not a one. I've been enough. I've done the tourist thing. I don't need to do it again. But yeah, I did it again, and it was great, because you know, there wasn't that much about, and the people were all very, you know, everybody wore the masks. It was all very civil and very nice. And however, and I'm saying however, on the night, it was the night that our Prime Minister announced that we were going back into a 4-week lockdown. Now, we left London Central, oh, what time was it? It was about, because we had something to eat in Piccadilly Circus, and then we left at about, it was about 7:30, because we ate early, because we wanted to get back to the hotel in good time. The next morning when we woke up, we were greeted with the news that following the announcement of the 4-week lockdown, London had filled up with partygoers, and there was lots and lots of unfortunate skirmishes, and people got arrested, and people were ignoring the COVID rules. And yeah, I think people just, they must have got to the point where they were thinking, can't do this again, I'm not going to do this again, and they just decided to have a big old bash in London. So I'm glad that we left when we did, because we didn't have to get caught up in any of that. And I think that would have been that would have sent me running for the hills. But yeah, other than that, it was a great weekend. And then of course, obviously, we get home, and the following week we're back into lockdown, which we needed to do it. We can't keep the R number down, so, but it's not a full lockdown like it was last time. There's a lot of places still open, because I know a lot of people, you know, they're losing their livelihoods, and it's not good. And so we've got that one done. That's lovely. I love that little tram. But yeah, other than that, it was great. So there we go. We've got two. I've made 2. I think I've got enough for the rest. I'll sew around them off camera. You really, you know, you don't need to watch us sew around them. You know, it's like any other piece of ephemera. And I'll show you the ones that I've already done. Let's move these out the way. So they're all still a little bit curled, but I'm going to flatten them out. Well, they'll flatten out once they're in the book. But I just use varying, I mean, that's Gail Agostinelli. This is Roxy Creations. I'm not sure about the others. I think that it's a mix of Antique Papery and Artsology. And I know that's Artsology. But I thought, you know, you can make this pocket look so different. And then the 2 that we've just made, you know, so that pocket it can look so different. It's great. I'm loving it. And this one just feels a little bit, yeah, it does. Not to worry. Right, okay, so the other thing I've made is these pockets. Now, it's a tuck, and it's got a little pocket in the bottom. So you've got your pocket there, and then you've got your tuck there when it's on the page, and that's going to be something else I'm putting in. So what I've used is, I've got this old book, and I use this one because it is the perfect width for these pages. You can see it's leaving me a little bit room, so that we've got a little bit of room there and a little bit of room there, because I think some of the books that I use for my glue books are just too big. So I was just using the pages as I was gluing, but obviously for the purposes of demonstration. So these are so easy. All you do is, you don't have to cut your page down, because all you do is you create your triangle, which is simple enough, and then I fold this up. So once this is folded up, you then flip it over, and you want to fold it so that it's like flush with the bottom there, and it's just a case of manipulation, and then you do eventually get it right, and you can trim off any little bits that are hang over. I mean, these books are never, the book pages are never very straight when you take them out of the book anyway, so there we go. Let's get rid of that. And then it's just a case of folding this bit over, and you can cut it off if you want, because you're going to sew around it anyway. As you can see, I've sewn around this one, and all I did was I just snipped it. I wanted the stitches to catch it, so I just snipped it a little bit below where the stitch line was going to be. So I think I'm going a bit out of focus. Am I a bit out of focus? Oh, it's hard to tell with this camera. Is that better? There we go, that's better. And that's basically your pocket. So I'll make another couple, because why not? you can never have too many pockets lying around in your stash, can you? And like I say, these pages, I mean, you can use any size page you want, as long as it's like a basic book page, you're still going to get the same effect. It's going to be obviously whatever size it is, the dimensions might change slightly, but you know, and try and line everything up with the edge of the page, and that keeps you right. And there we go. So I've done that one the other way, because like I say, I like to have things both ways, and then you're not stuck for which page you can put it on. And then we'll do one more. And this is a great way if you're using a glue book, because I did have a comment about what do I do with me me glue book pages. This is what I do if I've got time. Generally when I'm crafting without the camera on and you've got a little bit more time, then generally while I take a glue page off, instead of just folding it in half, I will fold it into a pocket like this, or I'll fold it into a different type of pocket, because then it's ready just to be decoupaged on. We'll get there eventually. You can fold this up that way. I just like the raw edges to be at the back. I don't know why, I just do. But like I say, you can fold it up that way, and I suppose it would keep it all nice and neat. But the problem is that if you haven't got everything perfectly straight, you might end up like having a bit of a bump. Although I don't know, that's quite good that way, and it's not going to stop it from being able to be used as a pocket. And these are only tiny little pockets, but you know, you like all sorts of different sizes. You've got a nice big tuck there, but then a tiny little pocket there, and that's great. So again, let's find some things to decoupage with, to collage with. I kind of like that one. I do love that one. Let me see what I've got. My fingers are not working very well today. Oh, look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah, I think we'll use these three. I might try and get that clock so that it's kind of on the pocket. See if we can manage it. And the good thing is, before you sew everything together, you can just level it all out, and you know, it's easier to collage onto once it's all laid out. And I'm just gonna, there we go. Right, now I'm gonna move these ones out of the way, because I feel like I'm getting in my own way here. There we go, that's better. Now I can see what I'm doing. Let's get this done. Yeah, I think that glue's had it, so let's get some fresh glue. There we are. Yeah, when we went to London, even the travelling down wasn't as bad as it normally is. Normally, you know, the traffic's quite bad. You're trying to get anywhere close to London, you're going to be in bad traffic. But actually it wasn't too bad at all, you know. There wasn't much on the roads. I mean, we'd been expecting the announcement from the Prime Minister anyway, So I think a lot of people had already thought, well, you know, I mean, I think the traffic going the other way, that was quite busy. There seemed to be a lot of going the other way, and whether that was people heading home before the lockdown, I don't know. Because going into London, there wasn't that much about. Coming out of London, it was a bit more heavy the other way. So maybe there were a lot of people who were trying to get home before the announcement. It's like I say, we were expecting it. We knew it was going to come. We didn't think it was going to be a 4-week one. We were expecting a 2-week one, but hey ho, you know, they're trying their best to keep us all safe and keep the country moving. I know there's a lot of people who, I'm one of them. Like, I'm over it, I really am. But at the same time, what you're going to do, you've got to still deal with it. And now we have the idea that there might be a vaccine. I mean, that's great news. I don't know if anybody's heard that, but yeah, we heard that they've got a vaccine that's 90%. It works 90%, and that is just, to me, that's just hope. I've had a few discussions with people who are like, well, I'm not taking any vaccine, you don't know what they're putting in it. You know, I think at this point, I don't know. I don't know. I just want life to go back to normal, even though I know it's never going to be normal again. So I don't know. I think you could spend your life living with conspiracy theories, and whatever you believe is what you believe, but I just think I'll probably take it. Just want to get back to me life and have things normal, but we'll see. But that was good news, so I was happy with that. It was nice to know that there was some light at the end of this very long tunnel. It's been a very tough year, hasn't it? And for not just for the COVID, which I think has like overtook everything else in our eyes, but yeah, there's been a lot going on this year. It's not one we're gonna look back on and wax lyrical about, I don't think. Oh, although I will always wax lyrical about my trip to Hogwarts. I'm already planning my next visit. Like, I've got to go again. Yeah, I loved it. Oh, it was great. There we go, there's one done. I love that clock just sort of peeking out. And the good thing is, once you've got this inked up, let me just get some ink and show you, because it does look a bit lost. But once you've got that inked up and you put that right, you see the definition that gives. And let's just make sure we've got this folded right. And then it's another dimension to your little tucks, isn't it? I love it. I'm quite enjoying this one. Again, I haven't seen this one done elsewhere, but if you have, let me know, because yeah, I don't always get to watch all the videos that I wish I could, because I would just be watching videos all day instead of making them. I mean, I'm already well behind on Gail Agostinelli and Roxy Creations, and I've been trying to keep up with G Kerr and, oh my gosh, and everybody else, and Joe Beth, but it's impossible to keep up with everybody, isn't it? I mean, Shell Radcliffe, I love her videos, but I haven't watched one for a good couple of weeks now, because I've just had so much stuff to catch up on. I mean, I'm at the point now where I don't really watch anything else other than YouTube, which is great, because, you know, there's very rarely anything else to watch. But yeah, I'm really desperately trying to keep up with everybody, and it's hard. Sometimes I feel guilty speeding through people's videos, but that's what you've got to do sometimes, isn't it? And that's only my crafty videos. I've got other videos that I like to watch as well. But yeah, they've gone to the wayside. Right, oh, that's a lovely, isn't it? I love that blue. That's going to look really cute. Now let's see. Well, that, yeah, that will go. Okay. I'm trying to think if we've watched anything actually. Talking about watching stuff. Did we watch anything recently? Anything good? I can't think. Oh, we watched that movie, and it's oh, I wish I knew his name. He was in Sons of Anarchy, and he played King Arthur, I think, as well. I can never remember his name. He comes from our neck of the woods. He comes from Newcastle, which is just up the road from us. And Hugh Grant was in it. Who else was in it? Oh, that great American actor. Oh, what's his name? I'm terrible with names. You know this about me. I've told you before. But yeah, it's called The Gentleman. Oh, it's a Guy Ritchie film, and I do love a good Guy Ritchie film. He's just, when it comes to the patter, he's just got it perfect, and I love that kind of patter that goes on between his characters. He's just got it perfect. So yeah, and that was really fun. Hugh Grant, I've got to say, blew my mind. I've seen that man in so many films, and usually they're these romantic comedies, you know, where he's playing the English kind of romantic character, and I never rated that. Not him as an actor, but that kind of film, it's never been my thing. I'm not into chick flicks, but in this film, The Gentleman, oh my gosh, he deserves an award, because he was absolutely brilliant. It's so funny for all the wrong reasons. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna look lovely, so let's get some of that. But yeah, it was a really good film, so we watched that. What else did we watch? Oh, the horror film kind of thing has finished. I got away without being scared to death. I was terrified that they were going to, because we had like a little pot with all the horror films written down and put inside, and we were drawing them out day by day to see what film we were going to watch. And I was terrified that Woman in Black was going to come out, because that film so scared me. Daniel Radcliffe in that was brilliant, and it scared the hell out of me. Oh, I don't like stuff like that. But it didn't come out, so I was so happy. I was so happy. And that La Llorona, you know, I was a bit worried about that. I was thinking, oh God, this one's going to be really scary. It wasn't. It wasn't that bad at all. I think it's because I've always been interested in kind of folklore like that, even the scary side of it. So that by the time I watched it, I knew the story of La Llorona. La Llorona, La Llorona. I don't know how it's pronounced. And it didn't scare us that much, even though it's probably meant to be a very scary story, but no, it was fine. Oh, I like that piece. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, we'll have that. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. So yeah, I got away without anything too scary. I managed to evade it. But now we're doing the same with Christmas movies. So we've already started a list of Christmas movies, and we've got all the usual suspects on there. I insisted on White Christmas and The Santa Claus, because the Santa Claus, oh, that so reminds me of, it was a lovely Christmas. I was pregnant with my second daughter, who was born in the March, so I was quite pregnant, and me and my first daughter, she was only 3 at the time. We had the Christmas tree lights on, and we turned all the other lights off, and we cuddled up on the sofa together, and we put the Santa Claus on. It was the first time I'd ever seen it, and we just lay there with the Christmas tree lights on, snuggled up on the sofa with the fire on, and it was one of those magical memories that I cherish forever. And yeah, even Amy, who was in me tummy at the time, was all settled and snuggled up. I just love that. So I've told them we have to have the Santa Claus, of course. It has to be one of the movies. And then I think, you know, all the usual suspects. And I said Scrooged. Oh, and we had a debate. Okay, we had another debate. Okay, so the Nightmare Before Christmas debate, you know, we've decided that it's a movie for both seasons, right? But we had another debate because I says, we were sitting writing the list and I was like, Die Hard. And she was like, that is not a Christmas movie and I'm not putting it on a Christmas movie list. And I'm like, Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas movie. And we ended up having this debate and she refused to put it on the Christmas list until I says, right, we'll leave it down to your dad. If your dad thinks it's a Christmas movie, we'll put it on the list. If he thinks it's not a Christmas movie, then we'll leave it off the list. So anyway, he comes in and I says, Chris, Die Hard, is it? And he went, yes, it's a Christmas movie. I didn't even have to ask him the question. And she was so upset. She was like, it's not a Christmas movie. So we're still having this debate. What do you think? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is it? Because I always watch it at Christmas. I love it at Christmas. It's got my man in. My lovely man. And Bruce Willis. Of course, Alan Rickman has always been my man and always will be. Bless his socks. What a fantastic actor he is. The first time I ever saw him, because he played Snape in Harry Potter, so you know I love him. But the first time I ever saw him, it was in this, I think it was a BBC thing, and it was called Truly Madly Deeply. And it was very sad. But it was a long time ago. It was very sad. And it was about this poor woman who had lost her partner, who was Alan Rickman, and he came back. He was kind of like in between the land of the dead and the land of the living to help her get over her grief. And it was just the way it was. I know it sounds like really morbid, but it was actually done so beautifully that I just straight away fell in love with Alan Rickman there and then, and I've loved him ever since. So yeah, of course I'm going to watch Die Hard at Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. Let me know down below. Drop a comment and tell me what you think. Is it a Christmas movie? I think it is. Right, so we've got them ready. So let's start thinking about putting some bits in here. So I was going to stencil these, but then I thought, no, I kind of like it just left like that. It's got a bit of a pattern on, and I think sometimes you don't need to, you know, you can allow yourself some space. Right, let's see if we could put one on that side. What should we do? I'm just going to think about which one I want. I kind of like this one because it's a bit more of a romantic feel, and opposite that I think it's going to look great, and I think I will make it a side loader. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. So let's get this glued in. Oh, that does coat my throat there. Okie dokie. And you can see that these are the perfect size for the book, the pages that I've used, because these are slightly smaller than your standard size of journal. So when you're making your ephemera, you need to take that into account. Excuse me. That dust really caught my throat there. Woo! So yeah, there we go. And now we're ready to have like a nice big journal card put in the side there. Just make sure that stays down. Give it another couple of seconds just to make sure. And that's our first pocket in. I'm loving it. But I mean, we've spent a long time now, so I'm going to leave it there. And we'll carry on with putting the ephemera in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the other books together, and then we can start playing with what goes where and which book gets which piece of ephemera, because I want to make sure that they, you know, they've got a bit of continuity with them. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. I could sit here and craft with it all day, but obviously it's coming up to an hour now. And I don't want to keep you all night. So I hope you've enjoyed that one, and pop back and we'll do another. We'll carry on from where we've left off in the next one. So take care everybody, stay safe and happy crafting. Bye.